This past weekend, the DOJ released 3 million additional Epstein files after lying to us, originally claiming that they didn't exist and that Jeffrey Epstein did not partake in any human trafficking. Here we got a clip by Nick Fuentes where he breaks it down, and I'm going to share my thoughts.
Our featured story is about these 6 million Epstein files that have just been released, and we'll back up the story a little bit. So today, finally, after about 7 or 8 months of a cover-up, what is in effect a cover-up from the highest levels of government, finally, the DOJ seems to have declassified about 50% of the files that they have on the Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, this really pissed me off because there's no context whatsoever. Like, it's not our fucking job to take all the red threads and put this shit together. We're not the Scooby-Doo gang. We don't have the resources. We don't have the money. We don't have the time. Most of us have fucking jobs. Personally, I'm fun employed, which means I can spend a lot more of my free time ruining my mental health by reading about this shit. But to dump 3 million files on the American public, it's an asinine move, and you kind of have to wonder why they would do that. Because now everything just looks like shit. There's unsubstantiated claims, there's emails, there's personal correspondence. Some is better than others. We have to separate the usable stuff from the literal sludge and slop within the files. And they didn't do that. It's a rough draft, essentially. Now, I appreciate that it's like a master file. There is a database where every single stone can be unturned, but working your way through 3 million files and then coming to some sort of conclusion is seemingly impossible.
Case. And so all the files came out today. All these 3 million files came out. And it's emails. Yeah,
he's trolling about the 6 million. That's just the infamous number in Judaism. I'll bring up the significance so that you know. It's not just about the Holocaust, as far as I'm aware. I don't know where I got that from. I could have sworn that there was other significance besides the Holocaust. Am I losing brain cells, or have you guys heard that too? There is. What is it? Now we gotta get to the bottom of this. No idea what I'm talking about? I'm out schizoing you? I'm gaslighting myself? Is that what's happening right now? I don't like that. I don't like knowing something and having it memory hold and then it just not coming up. Maybe that. Let me see. Was 6 million a significant number for European Jews before the Holocaust? Well, let's trust Reddit. People online have stumbled upon a Holocaust denier who argued that 6 million Jews was already a significant number before the Holocaust even happened and linked this image. My first reaction was, this is bullshit, but I've always had claims like this, and to my surprise, I stumbled upon this paper, which isn't denying the Holocaust, by the way, 6 million Jews before 1939 by Douglas C. Uvan. As far as I can tell, Douglas C. Uvan is a biophysicist, so I have no idea why he published a paper on pre-World War II Jews. The paper itself says that 6 million Jews and their suffering was an important number for European Jews to showcase the suffering of Eastern European Jews, and used it as an argument for Zionism. I don't know. Maybe it's a psyop. Forget it.
Tips to the FBI. It's images. It's news reports. It's a lot to go through. And I don't know that investigators have even gotten to the bottom of everything. It's 3 million documents. I don't think it would even be possible. But we're starting to see what's in the file.
But technically, if this was 50% and it's 3 million, then there would be 6 million Epstein files.
And a lot of it is very strange. And as I said at the top of the show, some of it seems more credible than other parts of it. Some of the files are emails from Jeffrey Epstein, from Ghislaine Maxwell, and this is correspondence between Epstein and his inner circle. Other files are tips, which are not corroborated, unsubstantiated. They're just claims about apparent crimes committed by Donald Trump and other people. And they talk about torture and murdering sex abuse victims and raping children and all this kind of stuff. And without any supplemental material, it's really difficult to understand what any of this really is. What's real? What's fake? What's the whole story? What's the background on a lot of this stuff? We just got all of this with no context at all. But like I said, we got to back it up. First, I want to read through this story about what happened today. Then we'll kind of go back to the beginning. It says, quote, the Department of Justice on Friday released the largest batch of Jeffrey Epstein files to date, a giant tranche including 3 million more pages of documents and thousands of videos and images. The department released...
So, Kash Patel is literally under oath saying that we're giving you everything that we have, and he did not partake in human trafficking. Now, if you have an IQ above 37 and you've taken one look at the context clues that lay before you in the publicly available information, you would know that that was a bold-faced lie.
This clip is resurfacing of the FBI director, Kash Patel, and it's showing just how much he's just straight up lying to the American people, saying that there's no evidence at all that Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking individuals, nothing in any of the files. And now that some of the files are being released, the clip is resurfacing and people are saying, wait, you just blatantly lied to the face.
If anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women too, besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
For the information we have, Epstein didn't.
3 million pages, 2,000 videos, and some 180,000 images. The pages consist of email chains, text messages, news articles, internal investigative reports, and other material tied to Mr. Epstein. The files appear to contain at least 4,500 documents that mention President Trump. One was a summary that officials at the FBI assembled last summer of more than a dozen tips from members of the public involving Trump and Epstein. It's unclear why the...
What's going to piss me off about this is the mainstream media coverage of it. They're going to focus on stuff like Bill Gates getting the clap from Russian models and trying to sneak doxycycline into Melinda Gates's fucking water cup. Like, yeah, he's a fucking deranged gooner. I could have told you that based on his physiognomy alone, okay? Most of us understand the horrors of what went on. But if that's all you're hyper fixating on and you're not asking more questions like, why though? Who is behind this and for what political statecraft reasons? You're just not going to make it. It would be very easy to label this, oh, you know, all the elites, they're just pedophile gooners. And maybe that's what they are. But they seemingly have ties to specific governments and agencies, and that we're dealing with spies.
Investigators put together the summary, which includes accusations of sexual abuse by Epstein and Trump. The emails did not include any corroborating.
Every single one of his residences were kitted out with compromat-style surveillance gear. Audio recordings, everything is backed up on servers, cameras everywhere. You don't just do that.
Evidence. According to the emails, Mr. Epstein drafted notes to and about Bill Gates in 2013, suggesting that he engaged in extramarital sex. The Gates Foundation called the accusations absolutely absurd and completely false. In one email, Mr. Epstein wrote that he had helped Mr. Gates acquire drugs to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, and that he had facilitated a rendezvous for Mr. Gates with married women. It was not clear if Mr. Epstein actually sent the emails to Bill Gates. The files also revealed that Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, planned a visit to Mr. Epstein's island in 2012, although he had previously said he severed ties with Mr. Epstein around 2005. Lutnick told the Times on Friday that he could not comment about the visit because he had not seen the documents. I'm sure that's true. You call up the Secretary of Commerce, hey, how about those emails where you went on the pedophile sex island? Oh, I didn't see that yet. Hangs up. That's believable. A 2013 email exchange between the British billionaire Richard Branson and Mr. Epstein suggested that the pair had a familiar relationship built, at least in part, around their interest in women. Multiple messages between Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein showed the two comparing schedules to find time to meet in Florida or in the Caribbean between 2012 and 2014. So, here's the thing about the files. To me, this is what is relevant. From what we have seen in the files, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, it is impossible, just from the files alone, to determine whether these are real or fake. Honestly.
They include a bunch of anonymous government tips as well, so there's just some absolutely ludicrous allegations that, like, they can't even begin to be true with how out there they are. Oh, but Philion, yeah, put on your tinfoil hat. No, let's stay on task here. What I mean is that anyone and everyone could have called in and made a tip, and then some fucking government employee just wrote it down, and now that's logged in the Epstein files.
We don't have the context. We don't know how much of this is authentic. We don't know how much of this has been corroborated. Certainly, it seems that some of it is more credible than other parts of it. So, for example, the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and people he knew, that seems legitimate to me. It's from Epstein's email. It's seized by the FBI.
Like Peter Attia. The internet's favorite cool doctor with the Richard Mills and silver chains and tribal tats. It's me, Peter Attia. Pussy is low calorie. Still working on the gluten, though. That's a real email, by the way. I
have no reason to believe these are fabricated. The most you could say is maybe for whatever reason, Epstein was making these up to troll, to indict certain people. Who knows? That is maybe what you could say is the extent of it. That seems to be more credible. Then on the other side, you have this long list of sexual assault accusations against Trump, which are very out there and seem pretty wild. And there's no evidence for them. All we have are complaints.
There's essentially two camps, and it's annoying that we don't have more information on which one is more right. The first camp is like all these presidents, prime ministers, princes, whatever, were slicing off limbs and drinking adrenochrome out of babies. Maybe they were. It seems like Jeffrey Epstein literally had a birthing factory, Zorro Ranch. He believed in eugenics and breeding, and he wanted to impregnate thousands of women. And once again, it's near impossible to verify if these files have any sort of actual grounding, but there's emails of women taking pictures of their babies, being like, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for the wire transfer of $7 gorillion into my bank account. True. It's true. At least it exists in the files. I don't know if that's real, though. So he just defended Trump, bro. Are you lost? He doesn't defend Trump in this entire clip, as you will soon see. I could believe that Trump has skeletons in his closet. I don't have a fucking dog in this fight. I am so hopeless and lost in the sauce of the current American government. Nothing is real. Everything is fake and gay. Like, this is just truthfully, in my opinion, the only thing America has going for it right now is the military-industrial complex and the fact that it is a tier 1 superpower that has the ability to wipe out anyone on the planet. That's like the military side is locked and dialed, okay? Everything else, the actual political landscape is cooked.
We have some reports from confidential informants, and they reflect opinions, unverified accusations. That, to me, seems less credible. Here's what I will say about all of it, however, and this is, to me, what matters. All of this started...
The second camp, I never finished my first thought, is that this is being used as blackmail. And that much is literally true. Certifiably fact.
Because Donald Trump said that he would release the Epstein files, which the public deserves to see. At the minimum, the public deserves to see all of this investigated. And it should be transparent. When Trump is elected, they do a fake out. Around this time last year, the Trump administration invites all of these Jewish influencers to the White House. Guys like Rogan O'Handley.
Do you guys remember this? The phase 1 of the binders. They were just soy facing outside the White House. We got the Epstein files. What a nothing burger.
Who was praying at the Western Wall. Guys like Mike Cernovich, who's tight with Alan Dershowitz. Scott Presler, Jack Posobiec. All the pro-Israel influencers are invited to the White House. As you remember, they get the binders, and the binders contain no new information, and they were only given to a handful of people. It was a head fake. And so you got to wonder, why did they create this fake out? Why did they try to trick us? Because that's what it is. They created this elaborate photo op in order to get people off of the case. They wanted us to stop looking into this. They wanted us to stop paying attention. Why? And that was their first move. Their first move 1 month in was to say, hey, let's invite their favorite influencers. Let's give them a bunch of crap. They will be satisfied and they will go away. They will stop caring about this issue. Very bold move. And quickly, people said...
For example, one of the posts that stood out to me, because after researching Robert Maxwell, the alleged triple spy, Ghislaine's dad, who was originally Jewish and then buried at Mount Olives in Israel, after pissing off his fucking Lady Ghislaine yacht off the coast of Spain at 4 a.m, just winds up dead. Got a post here. A second black book that was found on the streets of New York is now reported on the internet. It has Ghislaine's siblings in England, and of course she is one of the daughters of Robert Maxwell, publisher. Two of her sisters lead a company for US DOJ software. A backdoor to the software is suspected. Robert was given a state funeral in Israel after his tragic death. I suspect Robert, Ghislaine, and Jeffrey were all Mossad agents trying to blackmail leaders in the political and financial world. And then the link, I will pull this up. I gotta send this to myself. Bear with me. Just casually sending myself the Epstein files. There we go. This is the justice.gov Epstein files dataset. And what I just read is mentioned here. This is what I'm saying. Like, this could be a tip. This could be fake. Like, it's just, but they're including it on the justice.gov dataset.
Hey, what's the deal? Put the files online. Why'd you give them to 5 people? Give them to everybody. Well, then they uploaded the files and people quickly realized the files were fake. So people said, what's really going on here? Now where's the real files? By the end of that week, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi said, well, don't worry, we're releasing the files later. Well, later never came.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Epstein threatened Mossad for $400 million. According to an allegation contained in the documents and based on an email dated March 15th, 2018, Jeffrey Epstein wrote that Robert Maxwell demanded $400 million from Mossad in an effort to save his collapsing empire. Dude, I can't even keep track of all these files. Here we go. Jesus Christ. There we go. That's what I was actually looking for. In a 2018 email, Epstein states that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was passed away after attempting to... Fuck! I can't read. In a 2018 email, Epstein states that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was passed away after attempting to blackmail the Mossad for $400 million. This is Jeffrey Epstein saying this from G Vacation. Robert Maxwell threatened Mossad. He told them that unless they gave him $400 million to save his crumbling empire, he would expose all he had done for them. In that time, he had free access to Margaret Thatcher's Downing Street, Ronald Reagan's White House, to the Kremlin, and to the corridors of power throughout Europe. Maxwell passed on all the secrets he learned to Mossad in Tel Aviv. In turn, they tolerated his excesses, vanities, and insatiable appetite for a luxurious lifestyle and women. He told his controllers who they should target and how they should do it. He appointed himself as Israel's unofficial ambassador to the Soviet bloc. Now, the problem is, unless somebody put the actual dataset case file in this post, I just have to either take it at face value, trust Grok, or comb through 3 million files. And who is he sending it to? We don't know because it's redacted.
They said, we have all the files. We're going to put them out next week. Never happened. They got questioned about it. Pam Bondi said, hey, the files are on my desk. They're ready to go. Then it got even weirder. Trump asked the FBI, did my name...
I understand that Grok isn't perfect. I'm just laying out the options you have to self-verify this stuff. That's the problem. And it goes back to my original statement that dumping 3 million files on the American public without any way to, like, statically verify. There's nobody acting as the arbiter of truth. Like, there's not an investigation going on. It's just, here's the information, do what you will with it.
Appear in the files. And the FBI actually spent hundreds of hours looking through the files, finding every mention of Trump's name. And there were thousands of mentions. Trump was asked about this in June of last year, and Trump denied doing this. They said, did your name appear in the files? Did you ask if your name appeared in the files? And Trump said no. That was a lie. So you really got to wonder what the hell is going on. You get the fake out.
There's a new audio leak of Epstein talking to Israel ex-Prime Minister Ehud Barak about Palantir. I listened to that as well. Not in its entirety, but that does exist and that's in the case files. It's insane. It's insane. I feel like the fucking schizophrenic right now. And like, I don't even have anyone to talk to this about besides like 3 close confidants / friends. Like, you can't bring this up to the regular people, to the normies. I'm lucky I have you guys so I could just bounce ideas off of and workshop so I could feel a little bit better about myself, but holy fuck.
They then try to procrastinate. They try to postpone it. Well, we'll put the files out later. Hope people forget.
Ehud Barak is one of the only confirmed connections to Israel. First of all, you're out of your mind if you think he's one of the only contacts in Israel. He just happens to be one of the biggest contacts, if not Jeffrey Epstein's immediate handler and/or protege.
About it, they come back. They say, well, we got him on our desk. They're going to come out later. Trump is very curious about whether he's in the files, and then he lies about asking the FBI to investigate and get to the bottom of that inquiry. Then, this is when it really gets weird. Elon Musk goes to the White House with a black eye. It's his last visit to the Oval Office. This is right before Israel bombs Iran. This is the week before. Elon Musk goes on Twitter and says the reason Trump will not release the files is because he's in them and he knows he's in them.
See, this is where it sort of loses me, although it is plausible, I guess. Nick is saying that Elon Musk chirped up and then essentially got roughhoused and had to undergo a humiliation ritual where he had a black eye in the Oval Office next to Trump as like a power move to like basically say, shut the fuck up.
He's got a black eye. It's a week before Israel bombs Iran, and then he's never in the Oval Office again. After Israel's war with Iran concludes, which the United States intervened in, Netanyahu visits the White House to celebrate, and he gives,
if you guys remember this, I mean, maybe,
Trump a big trophy for their victory in the war. The day before that visit, the DOJ publishes a memo and says, case closed. There are no Epstein files. They don't exist. We can't release them because there aren't any, and there are no third-party people we want to investigate. There's no black book. There's no sex trafficking ring. That never happened. This is done. This is a cold case. This is case closed. And as you recall, there was public outrage. People said, what the fuck is going on? First you said they're on your desk. Now you say they don't exist. You campaigned saying you're going to release the files. Now you say there are no files to release.
I wonder if the administration is like backed into a corner and they thought that they would just like, this would blow over by slow dripping and downplaying the files. And now everyone's just like, oh, fuck. It really is like the main elephant in the fucking room. It's the bull in the china shop of the current administration. It doesn't matter what else they do. It always goes back to Epstein.
You talked about this sex trafficking ring. As a matter of fact, that's what Epstein was charged with and convicted for 20 years ago. Now you say there never was a sex trafficking.
And that was 2008 when he was convicted as a sexual predator. Apparently, he would tell people that it was prostitution charges, and Alex Acosta was told to back off because he's intelligence. Allegedly speaking, of course. This is all common Epstein knowledge if you've been paying attention.
Ring. 2 weeks before the war.
And then you have people corresponding with Epstein while he's literally convicted. So, like, they don't give a fuck about the charges. They don't care that he's a turbo gooner pedophile. He was way more powerful than that. Very odd that people would just look past that to be his friend and or ally.
Or Elon's got a black eye and says Trump won't release the files because he's in them. Now Netanyahu brings this giant trophy to the White House to commemorate their victory in the war. And right before he arrives, he gets this gift, which is the Epstein files are going to be buried. So people go, what's up? Then you get this extraordinary cover-up. Trump comes out as guilty and defensive as anybody could possibly be. He says, if you are interested in the files, you're an idiot. You're a fake supporter. You're with the Democrats. You're with them. It's a hoax. The Democrats made it up. Why would they not get to the bottom of it under Biden? one line after another, one excuse after another, piling up. There are no files. It's only child sex abuse material. The files are real, but they're a hoax. They're real, but they're fake. If you believe in them, you're not my real supporter. Then you have Republican members of Congress that break with the party and vote with the Democrats to release the files. Congress shuts down a month early to prevent this from going through. Thomas Massie, Marjorie Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert
Yeah, the timing is odd. We had the biggest government shutdown in the middle of files.
get together, and they, working with the Democrats, are going to compel the release of the files with an act of Congress. They're even going to bypass the Speaker of the House, the leader of their own party. Congress closes a month early for their summer recess to prevent this from happening. Then when Congress comes back.
Yeah, some people were not applauding other countries, but in comparison to America, they were like, oh, at least some people are moved to resign from their position after being implicated. Slovakia National Security Advisor resigns over Epstein files, denies wrongdoing. Now, if you're smart, you would realize that if anyone resigns in America, they're basically admitting guilt. So that would be a dumb chess move to make.
Do we get the files? No, because Congress shuts down for 45 days. Longest government shutdown in history. And in the end, the Democrats give up without any concessions. Kind of weird. Then a week later, we finally get this bill. It goes to the floor. It passes. Marjorie Greene, who pushed it, resigns mysteriously after getting death threats. Then
Whatever happened to Dan Bongiorno, bro? I mean, the administration is thinning itself out, and I don't want to assume the worst, but it's looking grim. Podcast Dan is going to get us the truth.
Trump tries to drag his feet. They try to delay the release of the files. They try to amend the bill. Doesn't work.
He had Trump on his show today.
It takes 2 months. Now we're in January 26. We finally get the files, and there's 6 million of them. Now we finally get the files after they pulled out every stop to prevent this from happening. They shut down the government. They shut down Congress. They tried to trick us. They tried to postpone it. They lied. Trump tried to guilt trip us.
This is all I care about, politically speaking. Sure, America's undergoing other problems, but it just pales in comparison to the level of subterfuge that is going on here. Everything else is just a walk in the park. That can wait. It doesn't even bother me. I need to know answers, like now.
To tell us it's not real. Finally, they release them. There's 6 million files. And Trump is named almost 5,000 times.
Why can't we access these files since they were declassified? We can. I'll show you right now. Justice.gov/Epstein. It's just that I don't have infinite time to go through all 3 million assets and then piece together a fucking coherent story. So you can search the database. You can go to the DOJ disclosures, and then you can work your way through the data sets. For example, I'll click on dataset 4. You have all these PDFs. Some are just completely useless. Others are more important than others. But page 2... Page 3, page 4. This is one data set, and each of the PDFs includes pictures, scans, emails. There's no organization to it. And they're also retroactively deleting shit as well.
And you say, okay, so that was a lie. Everything they said about it was a lie. They said the files don't exist. Okay, there's 6 million of them. So obviously they exist and you lied. Then they said, well, they're a hoax. Okay, well, maybe some of the stuff is...
We got to wait for the Reddit autists to go through them. So this is gonna melt your brain here. There's a conspiracy theory. I don't know if you guys know this. Perhaps it's been debunked, but it has been reignited. Because in 2011, I believe, Christopher Mootpool, the founder of 4chan, who was mentioned in the files, having met or planned to meet Epstein and associates. The poll board on 4chan, which is essentially where like the current right-wing memetic movement that pretty much did the heavy lifting for Donald Trump to be normalized and then instilled as president. Because what you have to understand with the internet is pretty much everything that we see is downstream from 4chan. The schizos, the autists, whatever. They are the Brahmins in a weird sense of our digital caste system. And then it makes its way to Reddit, Twitter, or X, iFunny, and then eventually Instagram and like whatever. That's how you get mass adoption of information. But if you follow this under the pretext or the context that everything is downstream from 4chan, you have Christopher Moot Poole meeting with Epstein or planning to meet with Epstein in the files, in email correspondence with him, being regarded as one of the best hackers in the world. And then if you cross-reference the dates of when the Poll board was created, the conspiracy theory is that Poll was literally a Israeli and or Epstein mutant that they, Frankenstein, that they created. It's insane. It's like, there's no other way to put it. And then where it gets even weirder is you have Ghislaine Maxwell, or a user by that name, being one of the most prolific moderators / posters. So you would have Jeffrey Epstein controlling 4chan via Poll and Christopher Moot Poole, and then Ghislaine on Reddit. So they have a stranglehold on both information influxes, just psyoping the masses.
Credible, but clearly a lot of it is. So that's a lie too. They said there is no trafficking ring. Well, from these emails and judging by what we've seen, I don't know that you can actually say that. I don't know that you can infer that without a full investigation. So it's hard to draw concrete conclusions.
Like I said, they are monitoring the files and deleting in real time. Epstein-related FOIA files and court records appear to have been pulled from the DOJ's website. Page not found, page not found, page not found. It's happening right now, like in front of our eyes.
Conclusions from what we've seen, because a lot of it is inconclusive. However, what we do know for a fact is that they lied. They engaged in a cover-up which failed.
This is the schizo theory I was just referencing. Creator and past owner of 4chan, Chris Poole, known as Moot, was in contact with Epstein, possibly opened up the board Poll after meeting with him. As you can see, Politically Incorrect, or the Poll board, which is basically 4chan's version of a subreddit, was launched October 23rd, 2011, 14 years ago, now 15 years ago. And the email correspondence is Thursday, October 20th, 2011. So 3 days before. This is from Boris Nikolic. Last night and this morning in San Francisco, fun. Also met some interesting people. There's this cool guy kid that you should meet. Christopher Poole. He is only 23. Read his bio. The rest of Dav in Seattle in MTE. Tomorrow morning for NYC. What is the plan? Woody. Have you tickets? And I think that's Woody Allen. Can't wait to see you. And then Epstein. This is Epstein in the email responding. He says, yes, he is great. I had no clue who he is when we met. We talked almost an hour nonstop. He will be a friend. FYI, he's one of the greatest hackers. He will be a friend? What the fuck? And then Chris responds, sorry for missing this. I've been off email for the past few weeks in an attempt to catch up with the rest of life. Hoping to see Boris at TED and hope to see Jeffrey in New York. Hope you're well, Chris.
They lied about the existence of the files, the contents of the files, the treatment of the files. They pulled out every procedural stop to prevent the files from coming out, and now we only have half of them, and what's in there is pretty disturbing. Now, here's the next part of this, and I said it at the beginning. It's actually not our job to get to the bottom of this. It's our right to see it, but it's not our responsibility to investigate. Why? Because we don't have any power. Okay, the FBI has power. The Department of Justice has power. Congress has power. All of these institutions have power to subpoena, to investigate.
Yeah, that's why we pay taxes. You would hope.
To summon people. All of them have power.
And what's going on? Nothing.
Actually, to action these files and claims and accusations. We have the right to see the files. It is now the obligation of our representative government to do the people's will and investigate.
And even if they did, I wouldn't put my hopes in it, considering that there's millions of files, and with bureaucracy and red tape, it would take forever. We would know the truth 200 years from now.
So you've got 3 million.
I'll just give a thumbs up from my fucking grave. Guys, we did it! Mummy Phil. skeleton, skin and bones. We finally know the truth. Yeah, and the files are being deleted right now.
In files here, Howard Lutnick, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Steve Bannon, all these people are named. Donald Trump.
It's either you give us everything or nothing. This is narrative control happening before our eyes. Page not found. The link is broken. Oh yeah, remember that link that you were looking at the other day? Guess what? It's gone now. You didn't remember it. Fucking Men in Black. Your memory has been wiped.
Bill Gates. Now you need a full-blown investigation by the FBI into all of this. There are very serious accusations against Trump. This needs to be investigated. There are very serious accusations against all these people. This needs to be investigated. FBI needs to get to the bottom of it. DOJ, and you know what the next move is that they're going to try? You have House Republicans that are on the committee. They're already trying to pivot and make it about the Democrats. They're trying to compel Bill and Hillary Clinton to come and testify about the files. But Bill and Hillary Clinton are only a couple of people that are involved here.
This wasn't how the release was defined. That's a great point.
They're going to try and make it a partisan thing. This is about everybody that was involved in this. We need to know, because we need to know who's compromised. Are these emails with Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein real? Because if they are, then that means that
Don't worry about it. Cash is on it like vomit. Dude, I love Cash Patel, man. Fellow Long Islander. I trust him. He's the GOAT. He's got it under control. Rest easy now, brother. We'll see you in Valhalla.
Jeffrey Epstein had extraordinary blackmail leverage over Bill Gates, one of the richest people in the world. That would be a big problem. And if Epstein had a similar relationship with Howard Lutnick,
that would be a problem. If you're able to blackmail the literal moguls and titans that walk this earth, that's a huge problem. They're exploiting the goonerism, like I said. Yes, tragic, terrifying, horrific, that they used underage girls and potentially boys and babies for whatever. But why? It was for leverage. Over who? For what reason? The future of the world literally hinges on this, technically speaking.
or Donald Trump or Bill Clinton, you know, that's a big problem. Because that would also seem to suggest that these people are compromised. By who? For what purpose? So again, and this is the most important thing, and I said this a couple weeks ago, everyone said it was controversial. Trump is not a pedo protector per se. That's not what this is. To the extent that there was pedophilia or underage sexual abuse, not justifying it, that was only in the further...
Yes, but why? Exactly like the penguin. Why? I feel like a 2-year-old. There's a thing in parenting, I'm pretty sure it exists, where the toddler will just be like, why? But why? Why? It's a game of like logical conversation where the child, not knowing any better, will just keep asking why. It's like a sign of intelligence. I feel like that right now. I need to know why.
Furtherance of another crime. You understand the difference? That was in the furtherance of another...
JP touches on this, Phil. It's curiosity. I'm curious. Oh, I'm curious, George. Curiosity killed the cat, and I'm the fucking cat. I got 9 lives.
Crime. It's not like they were running a pedophilia ring because they just really wanted to get their rock
I'm curious, Joel. That's a deep reference.
off, and Jeffrey Epstein was a pimp. That's not what happened here. Jeffrey Epstein was pimping girls out to blackmail his clients.
Yes. Thank you, someone with a fucking brain.
You understand?
I do. I need everyone else to understand this, so I'm not the lone schizo here.
The sex trafficking, the sexual abuse of underage girls, these were crimes committed in the furtherance of extortion to compromise powerful people. That is actually the larger question. Are you prepared to ask that question? I see people squealing and screaming.
I am prepared.
Screaming, pedophile protector, and they want to get into the sensational details of the sex crimes. I understand that. But you do realize that, let's say we nail Bill Gates for cheating on his wife, or we nail somebody for sleeping with a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old. It's a crime. It's disturbing. But the next question is, who paid for the blackmail? Is that person compromised? And if they were compromised, what were they ordered to do and by who?
Thank you.
It's a question of politics. It's a question of our sovereignty. That is the scandal here. That is what the FBI...
This is why I feel like I'm going fucking insane. Because the U.S. government, the administration, I haven't even checked in on Trump, Vance, anyone. Has it been radio silence? Like, have they said anything about this? And then mainstream media is going to focus on fucking Bill Gates being a gooner. I don't care! I already knew that! Start naming fucking names, okay? Start calling out governments, agencies, politicians. Don't act like I'm retarded. Please! I know I'm retarded, but I don't need to be told it by you.
Needs to get to the bottom of. Because when you look at this circle, you see Howard Lutnick, our commerce secretary. You see Bill Gates, who runs Microsoft, one of the most valuable companies in the world. You see Elon Musk, again, who is going to be the world's first trillionaire.
A political party doesn't want to address, they may have elected a literal foreign asset to president, or not even just a president, but like, dude, we have no idea who's on whose side here. That's why I'm saying, bro, Teddy Roosevelt's got that quote, there can be no mistake as to what an American is. Or, I'm gonna crash out.
$1.5 trillion IPO for SpaceX, runs Tesla, runs X, runs Starlink and Starshield. If these people have connections to...
You know we're on the same side, right? We're literally allies. Oh, the U.S. and Israel? So then why is there blackmail potentially between the two agencies, or CIA, Mossad, whatever? One in the same. Are we really allies? Nah, yeah.
Epstein. That doesn't just imply that there's a sex crime. It implies that there is corruption.
I am literally a goy cattle slave. And I know my place. I'm a good Shabbos goy, and that's all I'll ever be.
There is some sort of nefarious political operation. That's actually the real story here. But I don't think we're ever going to see the light of day on this stuff. I don't think the FBI, the DOJ, I don't think they're ever going to bring any of that to light. Why would they? Kash Patel works for Trump. Pam Bondi works for Trump. Trump, in a sense...
Israel historically has had backdoors within sold cybersecurity products the U.S. has purchased. Dude, I know this. I'm aware of this. This is important information to know. But if you were to ask any boomer or normie, like they don't, like knowing this information does nothing because you can do nothing with the information. That's the problem that I keep running into. Like nothing changes. We're just fucked.
Works for Israel, works for Elon. So... how are they going to investigate these people? If Miriam Adelson and Israel and Elon, if they pulled Trump strings because they contribute the money, and if Trump employs Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, then how are Pam Bondi and Kash Patel going to possibly run this up the flagpole and do their job? They can't. Excuse me.
Boomers will just quote a Spielberg movie.
And if they tried to, Trump would fire them.
They'll just watch Netflix slop.
And if Trump empowered them to investigate, what do you think would happen to Trump? The billionaires would flip Congress and they would impeach Trump, and they get somebody else in who would fire the DOJ and the FBI. This is the nature of our problem, you see? Are you starting to get it? This is why we need a Putin-like figure. This is why we need a Xi Jinping-like figure. Because at the end of the day, the president is disposable. And the law enforcement works for the president. This is the problem. Can a U.S. attorney, can an FBI agent, can an attorney general, can they fight the president? No. Can the president fight the billionaires or the foreign states? No.
See, he wants Trump to be a dictator? I don't think that's what he said. I just think he's highlighting the problem with the expendable nature of term limits and political office. You can't actually get shit done in a 4-year period. This is why the deep state is such a grounded conspiracy theory. It's because no matter who's president, there are people in Georgetown at martini parties, fucking eyes wide shut, tight beat, just unelected officials who are dynastically ingrained in our government. Nobody's checking the CIA.
Not really. Can they fight the media and the intelligence agencies and Congress all at once? Hell no. That is why
You know what you need to do? Read Devil's Chessboard.
democracy, an open society, is fundamentally vulnerable to an attack from the outside. That's why we need some kind of strong executive. We need someone that is impervious to this.
Isn't the CIA only supposed to operate in foreign countries? Have you ever heard of MK Ultra? We were one-shotting our own people with fucking LSD. Dude, we were watching them bang through peepholes. Clearly, it's not ideal.
We need the billionaires to be afraid of the president.
Nick is saying we need a president who isn't so obviously controlled by outside influences. That's right.
We need those outside influences to be afraid of the president, not the other way around. Otherwise, this is the problem that you get. So,
No, he said we need a dictator. Maybe he did say that, but I don't think he wants Trump to be the dictator.
those are the Epstein files. Very sensational, but inconclusive. The real thing is we need to get the FBI to investigate, but they'll never do that. And here's going to be the next move. You ready
The Dark Monarchy. The NRX speaks of this.
for this? This is hanging over Trump's head. So you thought that electing Trump was going to be the burn it all down option. If we elect Trump, he doesn't have to worry about re-election. If we elect Trump, he wants revenge because they tried to kill him. They tried to indict him. So people said Trump is unaccountable to anybody. Trump can just do what needs to be done. This is hanging over Trump's head like a dagger. You understand? So if Trump doesn't bring us to war with Iran, the dagger falls. If Trump doesn't play ball with the Israel lobby or the billionaires, the dagger falls.
So this is positioning Trump as being compromised and exposed, that they're being leveraged over his head. If he doesn't play ball and do what Israel wants with Iran, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what my thoughts are on that. At this point, I'm just absorbing and putting it in the folders.
How does that happen? Why does that happen? The House will go to the Democrats in 26. They will impeach, which is to indict. Then it gets kicked over to the Senate. Republicans might lose some seats. I haven't looked at the map lately. The Democrats will have 45, 48 seats. They're going to need a dozen Republicans to defect to convict Trump. And that's going to be your...
He's not unique in that aspect. It's been the same story for every U.S. president for 50 years. Yeah, I guess I'm just sobered up to the reality of how dire this situation is in American politics.
John Thune. That's going to be your Susan Collins, your Lisa Murkowski. That's going to be... It's not going to be difficult.
How does this impact me, though? That's an interesting question because there's sort of two paths to take. One is just tuning all this out and just focusing on yourself, your immediate self and community and loved ones, and just trying to actualize. And the other part of it, it's like, it's ignorance is bliss. It's the red pill or the blue pill. You're either aware this is happening or you just do your own thing.
If the Israelis, the billionaires, if they really
Just put your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 la. I can't hear you.
wanted it, they could kick him out of office. And maybe that's what this is really about. Maybe this is their ace in the hole. Why do you think that the first Iran war was bookended by intrigue about the Epstein files? Elon crashes out with this black eye about Epstein. A week later, we're at war with Iran. Epstein files get buried. Next day on
Bro is getting bent over willingly and ignoring it. Yeah, I just like to be aware of how I'm getting fucked.
7/7, July 7th, 2025, 2/5. Netanyahu comes to the White House with his trophy for a job well done in the war with Iran. Epstein files get released. Today, we're locked and loaded for our second war with Iran. What a coincidence.
Chad, are we going to war with Iran?
What an absolutely amazing coincidence. So the Epstein files are talked about last year, war with Iran. They're buried, trophy for war with Iran. Epstein files are released. Loaded gun pointed at Iran, strikes as soon
Just put the fries in the bag. That's how I feel.
as Sunday. Make it less subtle. Make it more obvious. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. And maybe that's conspiratorial. Maybe that's crazy. But that's what it looks like to me. This is humiliating for the president. It is mortifying. Whether the stuff in here is credible or not, you have FBI documents saying that Trump...
It's not a guess of if, but when. I mean, it would be cool if the U.S. wasn't as imperialistic as it was and just, started isolation maxing. Just did their own thing. But no. We got to be in everyone's business forever.
Was taking turns raping kids and then they were killed in front of him. No matter how you cut it, this is a catastrophe for Trump. And you wonder what's going on there. Who wanted that to come out? Who is in control of that information? What's in those other 3 million files that they didn't release?
When are they releasing those? Can we get a timeline? Can we get a patch update? Why is there no one telling us anything?
Who has the negatives? Who has the rest of it? Is it in Tel Aviv? Is it in the possession of Ehud Barak? Who's got it? What else is out there that we don't know about? That's the concern. So people said a couple weeks ago, if you watch...
Yeah, imagine what they're not showing us. If they were comfortable enough to share this with the class, I mean, holy fuck.